Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to the Big Mouth Daily Live. And these are the discussions we're going to be having today. Very shortly, we'll be reading an article from Screen Rant about the Flash 5-episode crossover. I feel it's desperate. And also, we'll be talking about WB not being Snyder's plaything. So we're going to begin with this Flash 5-episode crossover arc for season 8, which is next season. Now, the CW have announced the schedules for all the Arrowverse shows and all their programs for next season. Bobcat, hey Mickey, good morning, Bobcat. Or good evening, Bobcat, because it's evening in America. So, they've announced that I think that Superman and Lois season 2 will launch on the CW at the beginning of 2022. This season will kind of conclude around August time, so we won't have much time to wait for the second season, of course. Episode 7 dropped last night. I am not able to watch Superman and Lois thus far, so I can't recap or anything like that, which is hugely disappointing, considering I'm, kind of an entertainment YouTuber and, predominantly DC. Bobcat, morning-ish, lol. It's 2:03 a.m. here. Wow. So let's read this article about The Flash Season 8. The Flash Season 8 starts with 5 crossover-type episodes. The CW chairman, Mark Pedowitz, reveals Season 8 of The Flash will open with 5 episodes featuring crossovers from the various Arrowverse titles by Grant Hermans of Screen Rant. The CW chairman, Mark Pedowitz, has revealed that Season 8 of The Flash will open with 5 episodes featuring crossovers from the various Arrowverse titles based on the DC Comics character of the same name. The series centers on Barry Allen as he uses his super speed powers when he feels like it. Uses his super speed powers to protect his world and Central City from various threats, both metahumans and not. Season 7 currently sees Barry facing off against the Mirror Master, known in the series as Mirror Monarch, while also looking for his missing wife, Iris West. Alan, can't she just stay missing? Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia glazes out. Yo, brother, it's a big day for us today. Glory, glory, Man United, can we do it? Is it desperate to have Sir Alex Ferguson as this kind of person who's there? Is he setting the tactics? What's going on? Ollie looks scared on the plane, I can tell you that much. The Grant Gustin-led series marked the first spin-off from the eponymous CW and DC Comics franchise in 2014 and has been a critical hit for the network across its 7 seasons. Yeah, really? The Flash also acted as the launching point for one of the Arrowverse series with Legends of Tomorrow, introducing Mick Rory, Leonard Snart, helping round out the time-traveling team. Although Arrow recently came to a close and Supergirl and Black Lightning are nearing their end, the CW announced The Flash's renewal for Season 8 in February, not long before stars Carlos Valdes and Tom Cavanagh announced their departures. By the way, Tom will be directing the Season 1 finale of Superman and Lois, and I'm very excited for Tom to get that opportunity. He's a great guy, very talented. Now, Pedowitz revealed, per Entertainment Weekly, that in the development Season 8 of The Flash, we'll see the titular hero meet with several heroes cross over from other Arrowverse series in the first 5 episodes, though no specific actors have been revealed. Black Lightning star Cress Williams confirmed the Flash producers have reached out to him twice to see if he's interested in making a Season 8 appearance, adding they're still just in the talks phase. So what Pedowitz had to say. Bobcat, I don't know this, but I have to learn soccer. I'll teach you. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia glazes out. Alex Teller's going training for play tomorrow. Morning, bro. Very exciting. So this is from Mark Pedowitz, the chairman of the CW. The idea for The Flash is showrunner Eric Wallace and executive producer Greg Berlanti have come together. And we're talking about other superheroes from the CW-verse. Not Arrowverse, then you're still going with the CW-verse, right? That nobody likes. That will come together in each individual episode. It will not be quite a crossover, but it will have a crossover type feel with the introduction of all these characters. Keeping the streak of crossovers going amidst the Arrowverse is hardly a surprise, nearly a decade after its inception, but starting the season off with so many out the gate is a bit shocking at first glance. However, when considering that Arrow is no longer going and the Flash is now considered the senior series of the group, it makes sense it would start to take on more of the crossover responsibilities. The Stephen Amell-led title initially held Plus, with the whole franchise still reeling from the events of the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event. It makes sense for various characters to find themselves crossing paths, be it for work purposes or to check in on their superhero friends. Whether one is a fan of the multiple crossover idea for the next season of the series or weary of so many right out the gate, there's no denying at the very least the future of The Flash and the Arrowverse still has a lot in store for viewers. With Black Lightning coming to an end and a no spin-off landing at the network, it will be nice for fans to see Williams' powerful hero continue his journey in some capacity. Plus, with the impending arrival of Jordan Fisher's Impulse, the world of Barry Allen is growing in exciting new ways. Of course, Screen Rant forgot to mention that people are slaughtering, yes, slaughtering Flash Season 7. People have not liked the kind of Speedforce story, and the Speedforce taking the form of Nora Allen, of course, who is a great actor who plays Nora, by the way, and plays the Speedforce. But the storyline, I mean, I don't watch it, but the storyline hasn't gone down very well. So what do I think about this? Well, hang on a minute, what's going on? Oh, let's have a look. Bobcat, getting my vaccine tomorrow. I'm getting mine, my first one, a week on Saturday. So let's hope I could still do videos after that, right? Anyway, let's talk about this. What do I think about Flash doing, separate individual crossovers for each of the first 5 episodes of their next season, Season 8? I think this is a desperate move by creatively bankrupt people. As I say, Flash Season 7 has not been received very well. So going down this direction is trying to get hype. This is probably a desperate move. Probably the ratings are sinking. The Arrowverse shows are not at the ratings high they used to be. The biggest mistake they made, and obviously the biggest mistake they made, was that Todd Helbing, who was helming The Flash for the first 2 years, went away for some reason. He's great, and he's doing great with Superman and Lois. So the first 2 seasons of Flash and Arrow were probably 2 of the best superhero seasons of superhero TV of all time, nearly outstripping Smallville in my mind. And, Smallville is my favorite. So that was saying something. These 2 shows out of the gate were really competing with the legacy of Smallville. But then from their season 3s onwards, they were watered down and made for children, just for children. Not even children can appreciate what they were doing. But the biggest mistake that they made was getting rid of Oliver Queen and the Arrow show. Now, it's clear that Stephen Amell, who played Oliver Queen, wanted to do other things. He's doing a wrestling movie. He's obsessed with wrestling. But listen, all they had to do was half the Arrowverse seasons to maybe even 6 or 7 episodes, and he could still do his other projects outside of Canada. He is the Tony Stark of Arrowverse. He was very effective. He's a very good actor. We enjoyed watching him. Killing him off, getting rid of him, was a mistake from the actor and, of course, the network, the studio, and WB Television. Now, it was his choice apparently to leave, but of course they would say that. I kind of found that hard to believe from the beginning. But basically, Arrowverse, or should we say the CW-verse, misses Oliver Queen's Arrow. But of course, we've got to get rid of the alpha male. We can't have alpha males. I'm actually thinking of calling all my platforms on social media the alpha male, just to wind people up. But so this is a dying franchise. Really, Crisis on Infinite Earths was the last hurrah. They're getting rid of these shows. Basically, you'll still have Stargirl, you'll still have Superman and Lois, the new shows, and maybe you'll still have Batwoman, because we're going ahead with a season 3, and whatever people say about that show, they're going to keep on doing it until they at least get 5, 6 seasons out of it so they can pretend it's successful, right? Bobcat, it's around 12 p.m. my time, so might be late to the night stream. No problems, can't be helped, my friend. Let us know how you get on with that. I wish you very, very good luck. So yes, that's my thoughts on Flash having a 5-episode crossover, mini crossover. So it's not a huge crossover event, as Pedowitz said. It's actually mini crossovers for different characters in each episode. And let me be clear, I think it's outrageous that Black Lightning's being cancelled. I like that show. I love Cress Williams. He's a great actor. Black Lightning's a great character and very popular within the DC fan community. But if we can at least see him, at least that's exciting. So it'll be interesting if we get normie crossovers from Ava DuVernay. I don't think she'd want that at this point anyway. But you'll get some other characters as well. If you're excited for that, that's great. But I think it's a desperate attempt by creatively bankrupt people. Bobcat, thank you, Mickey. You're very welcome, Bobcat. So we carry on. So I want to read you. I want to create a little situation here and explain things to you. This is why I put on the comments, WB isn't Snyder's plaything. So first we're going to hear Snyder talking to Screen Rant in 2 articles. And then I'm going to talk about Scott Derrickson, who's in an article as well. And the writer of the first Doctor Strange explains the differences of opinions that led to Derrickson leaving Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, to kind of show you a different kind of an analogy to the Snyder situation. So Zack Snyder says creating his own Army of the Dead world was liberating. Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder says it was a much more liberating experience crafting the film's universe as opposed to working within the DCEU. By Adam Banks. of Screen Rant. Zack Snyder says creating his own Army of the Dead world was liberating. The zombie heist film is now streaming on Netflix, and Snyder's first project post-DCEU appears to be a hit, currently sitting in the 70% range on Rotten Tomatoes. And I think that's about a similar scoring that Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. So he's probably never going to get 100%. So 70% is probably 100% for him. Other than writing, directing, and producing the film, this marks the first time Snyder also acted as his own cinematographer. Army of the Dead is Snyder's film through and through. Yeah, so it's important to understand that Man of Steel isn't his film through and through. He directed it, but Nolan and Goyer were running that film. BVS was his film, right? Although Terrio wrote that on his own, but obviously Snyder would have given him notes. And Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut is also pretty much his film. Army of the Dead just premiered on Netflix on May the 21st, and many are already looking ahead to future installments in the series. 2 prequels are already on the way, one a live-action film focusing on Matthias Schweiziger's eccentric safecracker, Ludwig Dieter, and the other an animated series that follows the original film's characters in the early days of the outbreak, namely Dave Bautista's Scott Ward, Ella Purnell's Kate Ward, Ana del Reguil's Maria's Cruz, Tigger Notro's Marianne, and Omari Hardwick's Vandero. Now Snyder is opening up about his experience crafting his own zombieverse. Do you know what? Is that prequel in animated kind of form even going to be interesting? Is that pre-zombies? It'll be interesting to see how that works out. In a profile by Esquire, Snyder talked about losing his daughter Autumn and quitting Justice League during post-production due to creative differences with Warner Bros. Snyder says he was able to cope by doing what he loves and found a new passion for building the world of Army of the Dead with Netflix. Snyder was free from any restraints imposed by Warner Bros. And the DCEU and was given complete creative control to craft his own world. Snyder says it was a positive change from working with the pre-existing DC canon. By the way, if Netflix owned DC, you would have had the same constraints, my friend, because no one is going to allow you to do whatever you want with a pre-existing iconic IP that they own and they're paying for. Bobcat, I sat down to work on a script earlier tonight, but I barely made any progress. This girl is on my mind so much, and I keep thinking about it. Never let a girl get in the way of your creative juices flowing. What's been really rewarding and fun is that this is a universe that I created. I know what the zombies can and can't do. I know the canon. I created the canon. It's a much more liberating sort of world to be inside of. And do you know what, Zach? That's perfect for you because you can do whatever you want with it. You can't with pre-existing IPs. They're just the facts. Too many people have too many opinions. And that's right and that's proper because so many fans have invested emotionally and financially. And to say, I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want with it isn't good enough, mate. Especially if you're triggering people. So anyway, making films within DC's extended universe naturally comes with more restraints due to the existing source material, as well as the studio's influence. Warner Brothers famously wanted to make Justice League more like Marvel films and brought in the Avengers director Joss Whedon to do so. On the other hand, Army of the Dead and its universe was personally crafted by Snyder and not by a committee of studio executives. While Snyder's Army of the Dead universe will be built upon with 2 prequels, a direct sequel is currently up in the air. The film certainly left the possibility of a sequel open. Although many of the film's characters won't be around to return, Snyder has the story for a sequel planned out, but he admits it is pretty crazy and is not sure if it will happen. With the success of Snyder's zombie heist film and his proven ability to craft his own worlds and mythologies, there is no reason for Netflix not to go all in on his Army of the Dead universe. Let me ask you a question. Do you think there's a call for a sequel? A huge call. That's interesting. But secondly, I don't understand the planning here. He kills off most of the characters, so why would the audience want to see more? Now, the prequels are interesting, but maybe, Zack, and this is typical Zack Snyder, we should have started with an origin, had about a trilogy with the origin, right? You know, landing where you ended off and continuing the franchise. I think you're going to find the footfall and excitement for these prequels won't be as much for Army of the Dead before people knew what it was. That's just my opinion. So we carry on with the Snyder stuff. So let me just read this from Bobcat. Bobcat, I don't know if I want to stop thinking about her or not, though. That's the thing. It's a mixture of crushing and being worried about her feeling like she has to be someone she isn't. Listen, she existed and she did okay before you turned up. And she will exist and be okay after you're gone. You can't put everything on hold for another person. It's good that you're concerned for her, but your creativity is what makes you who you are. So be creative, put her to one side, and when you're together, if she calls you or she needs you, you can put everything down and be with her. That's my opinion. It might be a wrong opinion, but that's where I'm coming from with this. I've done the same thing, Bobcat. I've committed myself as a younger guy to women and girls and all of that, and then I lost them to other people, and then I had nothing. So always keep parts of yourself active. You're a long time dead. Always remember that. Zack Snyder admits Whedon's Justice League cut destroyed his work. Zack Snyder opens up about how Joss Whedon's theatrical cut of Justice League destroyed his work on the DC Extended Universe blockbuster by Grant Hermans of Screamrun. Zack Snyder has opened up about how Joss Whedon's theatrical cut of Justice League destroyed his work on the DC Extended Universe blockbuster, the 5th film in Warner Brothers' interconnected comic book franchise. The story centers on the titular group of heroes as they team up to protect the world from the threat of Steppenwolf and his army of parademons. The ensemble cast for the film included Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher, and Kieran Hines. The first live-action feature adaptation of the DC Comics team is infamous due to its troubled production. Original director Snyder departed due to personal tragedy and creative differences with the studio. The studio brought in Whedon to rewrite and direct, leading to the toxic environment on the set, because there's never been a toxic environment before Whedon on the set, has there? Following the film's financial and critical disappointment, WB elected shift away from rushing the interconnected nature of its franchise and focus on individual stories instead. But after significant fan movement, the studio gave in to fans' outcry for Snyder to return and finish his version of the film, which released to generally positive reviews on HBO Max in March. By the way, the Snyder Cut is one of the best, comic book films I've ever fucking seen. But I'm doing this kind of whole piece. We're going to read this article, then the Scott Derrickson article, who was also driven away from a comic book movie, to show you the difference in mentality. In an interview with Esquire to discuss his journey from departing the DCEU title to his Netflix zombie heist thriller, Army of the Dead, Snyder opened up about his thoughts on Whedon having been brought on to the former film and the changes he made to it, while expressing his gratitude to the fans for their efforts to get him the ability to put together the Snyder Cut. He also gave his opinion on the theatrical cut initially chosen by WB. Read what he had to say below. It takes a lot out of you when you work for 3 years on a thing and then see it destroyed. That's big, and that's hard for anybody, as you can imagine. The final product might not have been a masterpiece. Still, its warmer reception from critics certainly shows more trust on the studio's end would have gone a long way towards finding a happy balance of their desire for Marvel-like success and a more auteur approach to the material. To see him having come out seemingly stronger after his torturous experience with the studio should at the very least come as some comfort to fans ready to see Snyder continue delivering new films. Whether you're an ardent lover of one cut or the other, WB's approach to bringing Justice League to life on the big screen was undeniably a distasteful one. As the franchise continues and tries to find its interconnecting footing, one can only hope that creative freedom allotted to films such as Birds of Prey and The Suicide Squad continues, with Snyder having made a new home at Netflix. With the Army of the Dead franchise, fans should at least be able to look forward to seeing him retain more creative control over his future projects, even if not in the superhero world. Bobcat, on the other note, it's so much fun to design your own Batman suit, vehicles and gadgets exactly. When she needs you, you'll be there for her, but you can't sacrifice your mind and your heart and what makes you happy for other people. I see people in relationships who don't watch the TV shows and read the comics and the books they love because, they're partners. And I'm not just talking about females and males. It could be either, right? Who don't let people be themselves. This is why I hate relationships. I've learned that, right? I used to watch Home and Away. There was a character called Sally. When I stopped watching it, she was a little girl. And because I wasn't allowed to watch it while I was in the relationship as a 17-year-old lad, when I got out of the relationship 2 years later, Sally actually had breasts. That's how far, this is what relationships do, right? So anyway, that's the Snyder's articles. Now I want to go to Scott Derrickson, who was basically, Scott was in exactly the same situation as Snyder was with the DCEU. And Derrickson's very good. He's liked some of my stuff before. I like Derrickson, and I like Derrickson's first movie. So let's read this. Doctor Strange writer explains why original director left sequel. Doctor Strange's writer, C. Robert Cargill, explains why director Scott Derrickson left Doctor Strange 2 after having creative issues with Marvel, by Cooper Hood of Screen Rant. The original co-writer of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness confirms why Scott Derrickson left the Marvel movie. Marvel Studios has established a great reputation for working with directors to create some of the biggest films every year. Working with directors. You really are, I'll tell you what. I mean, I spoke to Cooper on Twitter, so I don't want to be too mean. Seems like a good guy, but come on, Cooper. They've helped bolster the careers of the Russo brothers, James Gunn and others. But that doesn't mean that every director hiring has gone smoothly. Patty Jenkins left for Dark World early on, and Edgar Wright exited Ant-Man shortly before production. To the surprise of many, Marvel Studios ran into another situation like this with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Scott Derrickson was confirmed to return to the director's chair after successfully helming Doctor Strange in 2016. He repeatedly teased that Nightmare could be the sequel's villain and that it would be more horror-driven, which excited many given his work on prior films like Sinister. Let me just give you some prefix to this. When they were at a convention, and now Derrickson said, while Feige was standing next to him, this is going to be a lot scarier, and Feige said no. He spoke over him and said it won't be that scary. So we already saw there's a problem. This is the typical Disney problem and the Marvel problem when they want to keep it family orientated. And as a business, I understand that. However, it was announced at the start of 2020 that he would no longer direct Doctor Strange 2 due to creative differences, and Marvel later hired Sam Raimi to tackle the sequel instead. Throughout the long development of Doctor Strange 2, C. Robert Cargill was expected to be involved and flesh out the sequel story. details that were teased before. Cargill and Derrickson never got the chance to write an official draft of Doctor Strange 2, but he still knows why Derrickson left. Cargill worked with Derrickson at this time to develop a new horror movie, The Black Phone, which will be Derrickson's next directorial effort. During an interview with Cinema Blend, Cargill explained that Derrickson and Marvel wanted to make two different movies, coupled with Derrickson's interest in directing The Black Phone, without compromising on his vision, led to the split. Read what Cargill said below. It was creative differences. Scott Derrickson wanted to do one movie and Marvel wanted to do another movie. So he sat there and said, well, shit, I've got this great script I wrote with Cargill and I'm really proud of it. Came down to Scott and Scott's like, well, I can make this movie that I'm compromising what I wanted to do on. Let me say that again. Well, I can make this movie that I'm compromising what I wanted to do on. Or I could make The Black Phone. And he goes, you know, I want to make a movie with Cargill. I'm gonna go make The Black Phone. It was, as he said publicly, it was a hard choice to leave Strange behind, but it made it easier that he had a movie that he was looking forward to. The specific creative differences that emerged between Derrickson and Marvel haven't emerged in the time since the announcement, but Cargill has provided some additional clarity here. Some fans have pointed to the possible tension between Derrickson and the studio going back to the San Diego Comic-Con 2019 announcement of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, as Derrickson proudly proclaimed it will be Marvel's first horror movie, only for Kevin Feige to promptly say that it would only be a PG-13. Meanwhile, the addition of Scarlet Witch and America Chavez, as well as some rumors of other sorcerers and multiverse characters, are further creative decisions many have pointed to as examples of what made Derrickson feel like he would be compromising on his vision. As exciting as it might be now to have Sam Raimi directing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, it is still unfortunate that Derrickson and Marvel could not keep their partnership together. Derrickson's plan for the sequel sounded quite exciting and also left many wondering why it took Marvel so long to announce the movie. However, it is better for everyone that Derrickson walked away if he wasn't thrilled with the direction of Doctor Strange 2 was taking. Marvel was able to find a suitable replacement who can guide the sequel forward without further creative differences. And Derrickson got the chance to make a movie he was truly passionate about. And with both The Black Phone and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness set for release in early 2022, hopefully both movies are the best they can be. So let's discuss this, because I'm tying this all into Snyder as well. So this is an issue. Creative auteurs, directors, making comic book movies. Now, we've seen with the Logan movie that it worked. Not so much in the previous, the Wolverine, because I didn't really like that movie. But Logan was a huge hit. It worked. It was a great ending for Hugh Jackman's, Wolverine. That film worked. We've seen auteurs do things before. Didn't really work with Bryan Singer's Superman Returns. I still have a fondness for that film. And obviously we've seen what's happened with Snyder. But from the moment Marvel sniffed there was an issue with Derrickson, they went gone. And also we must say that Sam Raimi's an interesting replacement, and I don't think he was a spur of the moment replacement. Do you know what I think? I think they were always looking at Raimi. I think that Feige had decided he was going down this multiverse strategy. He wanted to bring in his Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, and he needed his support to be able to do that, because he still has some ownership on that version of Spider-Man, Sam Raimi, and he knows he would need him there to kind of help, to build up the vision of that world as well. So obviously Feige knew exactly what he was doing. But here's the difference between Scott Derrickson and Zack Snyder. Even though his writers come out and said, listen, he decided to walk away because, his creativity the film wasn't going to be what he wanted it to be, right? And the first one was. So that's fair enough. But there's no shooting pot shots at the studio or Feige. Let's be friends. Let's move on. Now, with the Snyder situation, it's an utter mess. Everything is out in the public persona. Snyder's still talking about his film being hacked to pieces, and that wouldn't make anyone feel good after spending 3 years on a project. Do you know what, Zach? I really understand. But Warner Brothers Pictures and the DCIP can never be your plaything, right? You had an opportunity to show, as a former indie director, that you could work with a huge studio, with a huge IP. That means you have to sit down with them, and you both have to come to an agreement how you can do what you want to do to a point, but you can also incorporate what they want to do for this universe. There were a lot of people in the mix, Jeff Johns, you know, whoever was the Warner Brothers chairman at that point, you know, all these things, Toby Emmerich, everyone has a view on these things, let alone the fans who have got different ideas what DC movies and a DC franchise should be. So you've got Scott Derrickson basically saying, you know what, these things happen, I'd rather make the Black Phone. So Snyder could have easily said, you know what, it's just not going to work out. But Snyder didn't do that. Snyder manipulated the Release the Snyder Cut campaign, and you think he didn't, you're wrong. He made it happen. And I, for one, I'm glad that he did. That's good. That's brilliant. He got his movie. But it became public. It became dirty. Ray Fisher shouting his mouth off again yesterday, who doesn't care about DC or his character, but just at his political agenda, as we know, still demanding apologies from the studio. I'm sure untoward things have happened at Disney and at the MCU. But you know what? People understand the professional element of working in the industry and how it works. You part company and you say, you know what? I ain't never going to work with you again. I'm moving away, and that's that. And you continue to get work in the industry. Well, whether that's right or wrong isn't really the issue here. But we've been told to death how Zach was treated and how they cut his movie, which isn't a good look, right? What they did was wrong. As a business and as intelligent people, I hope they have some semblance of intelligence. They should have at least let Snyder finish one Justice League movie, then waved him goodbye, and then they could have moved on, and then they could have done their own Flashpoint movie, as they're doing now. But instead, they were scared from BVS onwards, and things got crazy. So there was no hiding the situation between Snyder and the studio, where Scott Derrickson said, you know what? You're not going to let me make the Doctor Strange sequel I want to make. So ultimately, we just have to part company. But Snyder keeps on whining and whining and whining. And I'm a Zack Snyder fan. His DC movies are great. I have to qualify everything I say with that. And I say, I think the Snyder Cut is one of the best comic book movies I've ever seen. No doubt. Sam Dejan reviews. J.J. Abrams is directing Man of Steel 2. Bobcat, also, it's funny reattaching limbs to some my friends when their characters blows up, lol. Oh, yeah, as long as it's not in real life, I suppose, right? It's just interesting. It's an analogy for me doing this, really. And it's kind of cathartic when I look at Scott Derrickson acting like a gentleman, not getting his actors, not getting Benny Cumberbatch to come out or the other actors who were in it, right? And in fact, another person is the casualty of him leaving, and that's the lady who played Doctor Strange's love interest. She's not going to be in the sequel, I think, apparently. I think I'm right about that. So obviously, maybe she was a supporter of Derrickson as well. And so Derrickson's a really good storyteller and director, but he had a project and he moved on and he said that's that. But of course, Snyder was in charge of the DCEU. He was shaping a universe and he's obsessed. He's a fanboy as well as a very talented director. Sam Dejan reviews, she is the sequel. What are you talking about? Anyway, so basically, it's just interesting where you've got one kind of auteur director saying, you know what, it doesn't matter. I'm never going to get to make that movie. The IP is not mine. I've got something original here. Let's do it. Sam Dejan reviews, she is in the sequel. Fair enough. Anyway, so basically, you get this. So what I'm saying is, how long can Snyder continue to go on about this without this becoming tiring? And a lot of his diehard fans go, WB, WB, WB. it's very clear that the studio is moving forward with a new idea. And shall I be honest with you, no matter who owns WB, I don't think anyone looks at what they're doing and says this is a bad idea. Because what WB and Walter Hamada and Ann Sarnoff are actually doing, and J.J. Abrams, they're creating a universe that everyone can come in and enjoy, rather than one set of people. That's something that Ann Sarnoff said herself. Bobka, I tell you what, the actress I have for Harley is amazing. I love just watching her be Harley. It's like a switch for her, and she turns it into the character, and the face acting itself is just incredible. Oh, wow, sounds awesome, mate. Hope I can see it. So I've lost where I was now. But yeah, so in the end, right, yeah, as said by Ann Sarnoff, you know, we've got to appeal to a diverse audience, right? Different types of people, basically, so they can make as much money as possible. That's the business. Now, a lot of people were saying to me on Twitter, yeah, but, you know, it's about creative freedom. You know what? I am thankful for Snyder's free DC movies. I am. But they haven't done anything apart from make free good movies. They haven't created a great franchise I can be proud of. They have created free good movies. It's interesting. I would have liked to see how it all would have ended up, and I would love to see more. But unfortunately, one thing we can say that Snyder isn't a team player in terms of a huge studio environment, and that's the problem. So if you've got to be a team player, you can't have everything your own way. And Snyder just doesn't understand that. Maybe he's naive, maybe he's selfish, maybe he's greedy, maybe he actually believes he can work on existing IPs and do whatever the hell he wants. And his ideas are really out there as well. So it's difficult for a studio and executive to incorporate that, because they've got different notes. They've got the representation and inclusion angle. They've got what this fan's going to want, what that fan's going to want. It's a difficult environment. It's a more difficult environment to make films and produce films these days as it was 20, 30 years ago. And so Snyder will be, I mean, and this is something else I'm going to say as well. Do you really think that Disney would have ever released the Snyder Cut? He wouldn't have been allowed in the Mouse's house ever again, right? First of all, because of their relationship breaking down originally. And then what he did when they allowed him back in, filming stuff he was told not to film. I'm sorry. I like the guy. I like his films. But the best place for him is Netflix, where he can do whatever he wants, as he says, on his own franchise. Now, I don't think this Army of the Dead franchise has got much legs to it, considering they killed everyone off. Now, of course, it could be about the zombie universe, and that's interesting. And maybe he will get a sequel. It's interesting, right, that he's getting prequels, but they haven't greenlit a sequel. And they kind of know the numbers now as well. So that'll be interesting now they've seen the numbers, if they will announce a sequel as well, because he has got another huge franchise in the makings over there. So he's trying to put to Netflix. So this is interesting. Snyder's putting himself out there. He's trying to sell himself to other people as this great auteur that just didn't have a good time of it at WB. But the truth is, Zach, it doesn't matter where you would have gone, who you would have worked with, Disney, Sony, Warner Brothers, MGM, doesn't matter. When you're dealing with such a huge pre-existing IP, where everyone wants to say what they're doing, not just at the studio, but the fans have got different ideas. And the truth is, the diehard comic fans, the mainstream, broader audience, just didn't get what you were doing. And unfortunately, we could sit here explaining it to them, because I love it, but it didn't work out. So it's time for you to do your thing. You've told us and told us and told us what happened to you. WB are not going to change their minds. That's clear. And it's time to move on and get on with the next stage in the evolution. Sandersan Reviews. Why are trying to push Snyder out the universe? Snyder is out the universe. Snyder is finished with DC. Snyder won't be making any DC movies. There's a new franchise. They're rebooting the DCEU, right? It's over. Zack Snyder made 3 beautiful movies, and I absolutely adore them. The music, the choreography, they are beautiful. It's done. There's no way back for Zack Snyder. He said too many things. Ray Fisher said too many things. WB won't let him in. He's too problematic for them, right? So it's done. It's very sad that both entities couldn't sit down as adults instead of a bunch of children. He said, she said, he said, she said, he did, he did. I think we're all fucking fed up of it, apart from certain people, because I am. I'm sick of reading it and hearing it being repetitive on my Twitter timeline and my other social media timelines. As I say, it's disappointing, Sam. I can't push anyone out of anything. I'm telling you, if I heard that it was happening and he was doing more films, I'd be happy. But it's not going to happen. That's not the case. And as I say, I mean, I keep on getting lots of unsubscribes, and that's fine. I'm not here to be a mouthpiece for people. I'm here to say my truth, my universal truth. My truth is not your truth or the real truth. It's my truth. You have your truth, and we can discuss this in the comments, or we can be babies and unfollow and unsubscribe. And that's up to you. I can't stop you from subscribing or unsubscribing. I think I'm pretty awesome, and I think I'm a good guy to follow. But that's up to you, of course. Bobcat, we sit down and have script readings, and she never screws up because the entire time she's Harley or Harleen. Her improv is amazing as well. It's exactly what I needed, and it is Harley. Wow, well, it's awesome. I'm glad that you're happy with your cast, Bobcat, which is very important, of course. Sam Dejan reviews, WB, they don't care about the fans. Listen, Sam, I love this kind of statement that big companies or big football clubs or sporting outfits don't care about the fans. Well, they don't care about us personally. They don't care if we get bottled milk at night. They don't care about us. Of course they don't. We don't personally care about the people that work there either. All they care about is making money. And they need to make a DC cinematic universe, like the MCU universe, that's got a broader appeal. And I'm sorry, as much as I love Snyder's 3 DC movies, they don't have the broad appeal that WB and DC needs to make the money from this huge IP that's got so much potential, right? So they deem the Snyderverse as a failure, business-wise and corporate-wise. So this is why they're going down this new direction. Sam Dejan reviews, at least Marvel treats people better, but DC, they treat them like crap. Then they try to blame the writers, directors, and actors. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I've just been reading about Scott Derrickson leaving because Feige didn't want to go to his direction for the Doctor Strange sequel. So I don't think people get treated any better. People get treated in so many different businesses in bad ways, but maybe it's not as bad as it sounds. But basically, this is life, Sam, right? No one's pretending to be perfect. No one's perfect. You're not perfect in your job. I'm not perfect with my career. People don't treat me right sometimes, and I don't treat people right. That is life, my friends. We're not here to, saint WB for, knighthoods. They're there to produce movies. There's a big difference. Bobcat, well, I'm a DC fan, and I like what they're doing. I wasn't going to watch any Snyder films after Harley died anyways. Sam Dejan reviews, Marvel, they keep it under wraps. DC, it always goes to the public. Sam, who takes things to the public? Ray Fisher and Zack Snyder, not WB. WB only started talking back publicly because Snyder and Fisher were exposing things that no one should be exposing publicly from this industry. And that's the problem. It should never have been public. They should have worked together like adults, but they didn't. They were given another opportunity with the Snyder Cut. I'm quite sure if they behaved differently, they would be over on HBO Max now with the Snyderverse. But they didn't, right? Because the truth is Snyder wanted the keys to the whole kingdom. He didn't want a little corner on HBO Max. And this is where the problems lie. Now, Snyder is just going to keep on talking and talking and talking and try and muddy their name. The thing is, they don't care. It's all out now. They know that. They're going to carry on. And if they make awesome DC movies, it really doesn't matter what Snyder and Fisher do or say. And that's the truth. Sam Dejan reviews, it's not just Ray and Zack. Patty does it too. She does, and she's wrong as well. Not only is it bad enough that she was publicly shitting all over the first Wonder Woman film, she made a shit Wonder Woman film herself. So really everything she said made her look bad. She said the studio tried to interfere with her job. Well, obviously, the studio were right to interfere with her because she did a terrible job with Wonder Woman 85. 85, 84 even. Maybe that'll be the sequel. Bobcat, let me put this out there for everyone. Starts playing Agatha all along, intro music, who's been messing up everything. It's been Snyder all along. That's a good one, isn't it? I like that. Sam Dejan reviews, Kathy Yan. Kathy Yan's another one. She basically was, let's be honest, employed because she was a woman. She couldn't direct action. They had to bring in the John Wick writer-director to finish off the action because she was that useless. So we don't need no man apart from when we make a mess of a movie. So once they made a mess of it, Walter Hamada had to get involved. It was a mess of a movie. Walter Hamada gave Kathy and Margot creative freedom, and that's how they paid him back for it. A big mistake. But at least he tried, right? Sam Dejan reviews, why can't we have a connected universe and stop rebooting every year? I didn't think that the DCEU has rebooted every year, Sam. Is there another DCEU from another multiverse or something? We've had Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, all from the same universe. We had Wonder Woman 84 from the same universe. Shazam and Aquaman from the same universe. This is the first time they're rebooting. Bobcat, that's the thing. We don't need a connected universe. Well, I think we do. And make no mistake, Bobcat, we are going down the tunnel of connectivity. That's what the multiverse strategy is about as well. Sam Dejan reviews, I think audiences demand connectivity. It's more fun for them. Sam Dejan reviews, you just admit that DC management is bad, did I? No, I didn't. I didn't admit DC management is bad. Nobody's perfect. People make mistakes, Sam. Actors, directors, management. The big mistake was to get involved with Nolan and Snyder from the beginning. I respect them as directors. I respect their movies, but it was a mistake in terms of the DCIP. Sam Dejan reviews, we're getting 2 Justice Leagues, 2 Batman, 2 Suicide Squads, and now they have to reboot Birds of Prey again. Right. Forget about the past, right? Right, they don't have to reboot Birds of Prey, right? But actually, Sam, it's a good point. In the Flashpoint movie, Barry will reboot the universe. So you don't have to individually reboot each film franchise. It's going to be rebooted anyway. So the beauty is you can start again. It happens in comics all the time, Sam. Snyder was planning his own Flashpoint movie after his arc was finished anyway. So what's the difference, Sam? Look, this is the right thing to do. We couldn't carry on the way we were going, both them as a business and us as fans. He did a great 3 movies. He clearly can't work with a huge company. So he had to move on, and they had to move on from him. Bobcat, they won't reboot Birds of Prey, and the Suicide Squad will be better than the first, and Affleck will never got a movie. Well, when you obviously the Flash is rebooting the universe, so everything's going to be rebooted. Now, I don't know what that means. Don't forget, that's why they're allowing James Gunn to kill so many characters. Bobcat, Pattinson will be better than Affleck anyways. I like Affleck, and I'm looking forward to Robert Pattinson's Batman as well. Sam Dejan reviews, DC, they don't have a plan. They're just using the Flash movie to cover up the mistakes they made. Well, that's what comic books do all the time. Writers do that all the time. We write shit, and we screw it up, and we start again. It's irrelevant. They're not there to be perfect people or perfect creatives, right? There was a mistake from the inception of the DCEU, and they're trying to repair and rebuild that situation as business people, because Ann Sarnoff didn't make the mistakes from the past. Walter Hamada didn't make those mistakes, right? These are not the same people running this company anymore, right? All right, Toby, but Ann and Walter, Jim Lee wasn't there originally. So we can't keep on looking to the past and saying they did this, they did that. You did a lot of bad shit. I'm sure I've done a lot of bad shit. Can't keep on going on about it. We've got to move forward. Bobcat, why don't we point out how Hulk changed actors? Well, there you go, you see. So anyone can change actors. They did it with no fuss whatsoever, didn't they? I think it was a mistake. I love Ed Norton's Hulk, but they did it. Sam Dejan reviews, I'm a big Flash fan. I just want a standalone Flash with Reverse Flash. Why put in Keaton Affleck in the Justice League? Well, that's the Flashpoint story, isn't it? So they're not just going to do a Flash movie. I know what you want. Unfortunately, in life, sometimes we can't all get what we want. But I think you will get a Flash movie you can be very proud of. It will have all these crossovers. It will reboot the universe, but it will have a great story for Barry Allen's character as well. And I'm sure you'll be pleased with it if you give it a chance. Bobcat, look at all the Spider-Mans we've had. Exactly. Sam Dejan reviews. Too many characters in the movie. Well, your soap operas have many characters and they pull it off. Your Justice Leagues and your Avengers movies have loads of characters and they pull it off. Why can't you pull it off in a Flash movie? Bobcat, I mean, Snyder wasn't what I want, so not everyone can get what they want. No. There's a plan. It either works or it doesn't. The Snyder plan worked for the Snyder fans. It worked for me because I enjoyed what he did, but now it's over. They couldn't work together. They couldn't act like adults. Game over. Sam Dejan reviews. When will we get a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie? Well, I don't know that. I can't answer that question, Sam. What I can say is we could have a kind of similar story going on within the new rebooted DCEU. But we'll have to wait and see what direction they're going to go in. But that could be. Bobcat, hashtag Harley lives. Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend. But yes, that's the truth of the situation. Snyder's out. Hamada's in. Andy Machete's in. I like what they're doing thus far. Sam Dejan reviews. Is J.J. Abrams doing Man of Steel 2? I think he's going to do it. He's going to do something with Henry Cavill's Superman. Now, nothing's official. That's just my opinion. And I did state that on last night's stream as well. I didn't say it was happening. I said, I believe it's happening. So I was very clear with that. So just to be clear, it wasn't clickbait. It was me saying opinion. I believe J.J. Abrams will write and direct a Superman film with Henry Cavill. And I believe that. I genuinely believe this is the main reason Abrams came to Warner Brothers in the first place. He's obsessed with Superman. So he came to do his movie, as well as make money and all of that, of course. But you can't take much notice of what Abrams says. He won't be involved hands on deck with the Black Superman, but I think that Cavill's Superman is going to be his baby from now on. And he's come to deal with it. It will be announced sooner rather than later, but that's my prediction. Bobcat, listen, if the Suicide Squad sucks, but Harley is good in it, then it's a good movie for me. As long as Harley is done right, I'll be happy. I'll acknowledge the problems, but if Harley's good, then I don't care. Well, if you like Birds of Prey, my friend, you're going to like anything that's thrown at you, aren't you? As long as Harley's in it, so I think you're going to be fine. But it's all about points of view, isn't it, with films? Especially nowadays where we've got places like this to talk about them. Things get a lot more heated and everyone has an opinion and everyone experiences other people's opinions. In the 80s, we just knew that films were box office hits and we moved on and we enjoyed our movies and rewatched them. Bobcat, well, I'm a DC fan and a Harley fan. I know. So I'm a Superman fan. Obviously, if they make a good Superman film, I like it. And I say I like it. If they don't, I admit it. So there are some versions of Superman I can't stand. Like Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. I thought that sucked. Christopher Reeve was brilliant in Superman the movie. I enjoyed Superman 2. Superman 3 was okay. Superman 4 was a badly made movie on the cheap, but I still liked certain aspects about it. Superman Returns had a good idea, but it didn't execute its idea very well. Man of Steel is an excellent adrenaline-fueled movie, but not a Superman movie people wanted to see. And I'm talking about the die-hard Superman fans, but it's a very exciting adrenaline-fueled movie, and it's typical what Snyder does. BVS was this kind of Batman and Superman meet up in a kind of indie type of style. Again, not everybody's cup of tea. Bobcat, well, I'm a no. Bobcat, yeah, but if Harley is done right, then I'm okay with it. If they do a crappy Harley, you'll know about it. And of course, it's all about opinion. Nobody knows what you'll deem as a good or bad Harley, so we'll have to wait and see. So if I've seen something before someone and they say, is it good? Is this character good? Well, it might be good for me or bad for me, but it may be good or bad or indifferent for you. Everyone has different points of view. I'm staggered on Twitter, the points of view I see from people, but that's because they're coming from a different place and a different mind than me. So it's fascinating, really, to see what people say about stuff. Even classic, successful films, people are shitting on them now because people are nuts and they've got too much time on their hands. It's all about different perceptions, different opinions, and at the end of the day, the more we embrace social media, the longer this kind of chat and sometimes toxicity and heated opinions. Bobcat, well, I like Birds of Prey, so I'm not super picky. Obviously not, no. I think, look, the secret is the box office, isn't it? There. The secret is the box office. It's no surprise. You basically take, the director goes, up yours, we're not putting these women in their iconic costumes, or they won't have the personalities of their iconic characters. We're going to put some shade on all men, saying they're all wankers, right, and traitors and horrible people. So who's going to go and watch it? Well, not even the women. Many women went to see that film. They were lucky it made the money it did. It made a slight profit. So it's all in the box office. You know, a multitude of people can't be wrong, right? There's always going to be a few people that stand it, right? That stand films like The Last Jedi because they go to the opposite of what everyone else says, and that's fair enough. I don't want to, you know, jizz all over people's opinions. But, you know, it is about money. It is a commercial business. The entertainment industry is a commercial business. So when people say, oh, yeah, it's all about money, well, sorry, it's about making good stuff, but it's also about making money. Bobcat, my aunt is a Marvel fan and was like, yeah, unless the Suicide Squad is so bad, it goes straight to streaming. Well, yeah, it will be on streaming. Every WB movie will be through summer. Exactly. Unless that plan changes as well, but we'll see. Bobcat, let's talk about all the bad Marvel movies. Yes, right. Daredevil. I'm trying to think now. Oh, Iron Man 2. I hate Iron Man 2. Such a come down from the first Iron Man film. Terrible film. I think the MCU films are mainly good. The Ant-Man ones are just solid, unmemorable movies. But they've made quite a few sucky, shitty things as well. It depends who you are. Again, it's about opinions. Sam the Jan reviews. When the DC Discovery happens, will they get a Kevin Feige? Will we have a DC Studios? Will we have a head of DC Studios? We will have to wait and see, Sam, for that. Sam the Jan reviews. I like the Daredevil movie. Bobcat, she doesn't even read the comics. She's one of those Disney can do no wrong people. Yeah, obviously, right? And, of course, Disney have made mistakes. The Edgar Wright situation with Ant-Man, that was a mistake. You know, they've done the similar things to what WB have done with Snyder. That's what people don't get, right? So there's the Edgar Wright situation. There's the two lads from the Lego movie who were writing and directing Solo, a Star Wars story. Oof, right? Gone. There's obviously the Scott Derrickson situation. So they can do a lot of wrong. They just hide their wrong better than WB. Sam Jan reviews. I like the Daredevil Director's Cut. Never seen it. Ronnie Dodge. Morning, Ronnie. How are you this morning? I started early today. I've updated all my social media this morning. I've done my dad's breakfast and I thought, you know what? It's getting really hot here. I'm going to do it early today. So we've been talking about kind of comparing the Scott Derrickson situation, being driven out of Doctor Strange and him keeping quiet about it while Snyder keeps on whining about it. Sam Dejan reviews. Ava DuVernay was supposed to do Black Panther. Thank fuck she's not. Sam Dejan reviews. Patty Jenkins was supposed to do The Thor Dark and World. Yep. And looking at Wonder Woman 84, and you can understand why no studio ever agrees with her ideas now, because she's nuts. Probably people don't like For the Dark World. I don't mind it. I think it would have been a worse film with Patty Jenkins, and that's obvious now. I mistakenly thought that Patty Jenkins should take all the credit for the first Wonder Woman, but it's clear when you compare both movies that simply isn't the truth. Bobcat, hey Ronnie Dodge. I didn't even know there was a Daredevil movie director's cut. There you go. It looks like all but I won't say it. Ronnie Dodge, hey Bobcat. Is it just bad movies that get director's cut? Although they don't, because Aliens has got director's cut. Bobcat, if Disney ever buys DC, I won't watch the films. I have my Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, the Suicide Squad, and this mysterious upcoming James Gunn Harley Quinn project. As I say, it's very difficult for Disney to buy Warner Media, which I think would be what they would be looking to do, because of the monopolies and mergers committees. They've been caught for years. It wouldn't happen for many years, so it will be a problem for them. Obviously, they'd like to try it. Sam Dejan reviews. Coolio is in the director's cut. Wow. And Jennifer Garner is, of course, in Daredevil, who I love for Alias. Sam Dejan reviews. Poison Ivy should be the villain in the Batgirl movie. Be interesting. I think there'll be some news about that in the next few days. Bobcat, she will be apparently Sam. Wouldn't listen to too many rumors until they're official. Soon you'll be reading I'm going to be in a DC movie as well. There is a lot of shit out there, isn't there? Ronnie Dodge, maybe the Flash Season 8 premiere will come from the Flash movie. That would be very, very ambitious. You never know. That could be it. I mean, that would be very exciting if that's the plan. But yes, now Flash Season 8 will premiere around September. So basically, maybe they're using it as a bit of marketing for the Flash movie as well. So you could be right there. We could have a little pre-Flash movie sequence there. So that might be the plan as well, which will be very, very exciting. Very. Bobcat, I mean, I'd love you in a DC movie, so low. Yeah, it'd be excellent, wouldn't it? Sam Dejan reviews. There should be a DC Elseworlds Catwoman. Well, let's focus. Well, we're getting an Earth 2 Catwoman. Isn't that enough? Problem is, we can't have everything all at once, can we? There has to be pace of things. Sam Dejan reviews. I want it rated R like the Joker. Interesting. But would a Catwoman R-rated movie? I mean, we've had one Catwoman film. That went well, didn't it? Bobcat, I'm excited for Harley Quinn Season 3. Yes, I do and I don't like that series. Some of the swipes they take, a bit woke, aren't they? But all in all, it's a great animated series, and I get why people love it. We all know the motivation for getting Poison Ivy and Harley together, and it wasn't because fans wanted it. We all know what they were playing at. And it just suits their agenda. Bobcat, that's an example of DC done right. Bobcat, well, it's my favourite animated show since Batman and the animated series. I think I'm still going with Batman the Brave and the Bold as my favourite animation. It's so unfrustrating and beautiful and entertaining. Bobcat, I mean, I don't mind. It worked for me. There's a lot of modern stuff I have to keep away from as an intelligent person. I don't want to watch stuff and get wound up by it. There's no point, you know. There should be Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton. That's the plan, but it won't be Batman Beyond. It will be Batman Beyond, obviously. Yeah, it'll be Batgirl Beyond, because he's going to train Batgirl instead of. And I reckon Keaton will cameo in the Batgirl movie, definitely. Sam Jean-Ryu, Timothy Chalamet should play Terry McGinnis. Well, they're not going that direction. They're going with Batgirl in that role anyway, from what I hear. So that's not going to happen, unfortunately. And he's going to be a little bit busy, isn't he? But he's a Warner Brothers person, and I think he will end up in the DCEU, which would be really, really exciting. I'd rather see Timothy play Superboy, Connor Kent. Because they're already doing the Batman Beyond concept, so that's pretty obvious. And even Grace Randolph said that months and months ago. And sometimes she is right. Sometimes. Not all the time. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Bobcat, it's almost taking too long for season 3. I've rewatched Nothing seasons twice. Well, it takes a while to do the animation, doesn't it? But it's just something for you to look forward to, isn't it, Bobcat? Sam Jean-Ryu, did you Tom Cruise will be in Lethal Weapon 5? Very excited, yeah. It's just a rumour by Small Screen, so basically they're not really great kind of sources of information. They're a bit like, let's just throw stuff at the wall and let's see what sticks. But Tom Cruise being a villain in a Lethal Weapon 5 would be sensational. It would be obviously, it will be Dick Donner's final movie. It's going to be very emotional, and bring it on, bring it on. Bobcat, that and the Suicide Squad and another Harley year. Oh, yes. Sam Jean-Ryu, there should be a See No Evil, Hear No Evil remake with Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. I suppose that could work. I don't think too many people would be asking for that, but I suppose it would be funny, wouldn't it? It would be funny. But I don't think they're funny. I don't think they're funny. No, it wouldn't work. I mean, Gene Wilder and obviously the other guy, Richard Pryor, were actually comedians. They knew how to do comic acting and they had the timing. So you really need comic actors to do that kind of thing. Bobcat, I probably wouldn't watch that. No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't be interested in it at all. For me, it's about DC characters. I don't stand I love the actors, but for me, it's about the characters in the universe. I want to see that. I don't stand directors and things like that after they move away, or, you know, for me, it's all about DC and this wonderful character, the potential these wonderful characters have, no matter who plays them, no matter who directs them. That's my mentality. Now, I know that's not the mentality of others. So, Sam Lejean reviews. They're doing Wonka movie in 2023. Yes, and Chalamet, whatever his name is going to be in it, isn't it? So, that's exciting. Bobcat, there would be a lot of this DC Elseworld memes and stuff. Yeah, probably that's the internet. The internet ruin fucking everything, don't they, with their fucking memes? They can't help themselves. Everything fucking classic from my youth is fucking gift, you know, or meme. Leave me alone, man. Let the classics alone. Even Murder, She Wrote is on a fucking GIF, which I used to use all the time to piss people off. Tonight on Murder, She Wrote. It was me, Mrs. Fletcher. I killed the victim. I was justified. She was a terrible person. Take her away, Amos. Ronnie Dodge, next year is DC's year, not Marvel's. Absolutely. Absolutely. Bobcat, you, Ronnie Dodge. Bobcat, yup. Yes, and I agree. It's our year next year. over 7 projects. Many more announcements to come for 2023 to 2025. It's an exciting time. They do have a plan. The plan is there to be seen. It's obvious what the plan is. Now, just because you don't like a plan, you can't say they don't have a plan. That's a different thing entirely, isn't it? So, what do we make of that? Right, leave your remaining comments and thoughts in the comments there before I say goodbye. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia glazes out. I'm chilling out today, bro. Awesome. Bobcat, although I'm not watching Shang-Chi, the Suicide Squad will still be in theatres. Why watch Marvel's woke garbage instead of probably what will be my favourite film of all time? I will catch up with Shang-Chi. I watch all the MCU films, right? I don't mind them. They're just, I don't stand them. Ronnie Dodge, but I'd rather watch the Suicide Squad. Ronnie Dodge, Marvel should be worried, in my opinion, as much as I like Marvel. They should be nervous. I think what each universe has to do is focus on themselves and not worry about the other universe. Obviously, everyone wants to make top dollar and be called the best franchise, but at the end of the day, right, they just got to focus on themselves. Sam Jan reviews, they could do a Mr. Freeze Elseworld movie. That would be fun. Ryan Cinematics, I prefer the DC films over shows. Well, listen, I mean, we've had some good shows. Obviously, I think I prefer the films as well, if I'm honest, Ryan. What was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, there are some good shows out there. Smallville, Gotham, really good shows. Obviously, Doom Patrol is a groundbreaking show. I think that's up there with some of the DC movies. I liked Constantine season 1. I thought that was a great show as well. Shame that NBC shoved it on a shit time slot. Trust them. And then he got dumped with the Legends of Tomorrow, right? Don't go figure. But yeah, I think the films are better than the series, obviously. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia glazes out. 5:13 p.m. here in Australia, bro. Manchester United kick off at 3:30 a.m. The end of the year. Australia time, bro. Bobcat, yeah, the only Marvel movie I'm watching this year is Spider-Man 3 and Black Widow when it's free, and Shang-Chi only when it's on Disney Plus before the end of the year. Yeah, I'll catch up with them somehow. I'll just order the Blu-rays. And I'll get them digitally on Prime Video, so I'll watch them eventually. I won't rush off to theatres. I will definitely be going to my local cinema to be watching the proper version, the finished, complete version of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. So I'm really looking forward to that. Sam Jan reviews, the Catwoman Elseworld should be about Selena, who is a stripper, and then she becomes a burglar. Would it be interesting, though? Would people want to watch that? It will just end up being commentary about toxic masculinity. You just know it. They can't help themselves, my friend. Sam Dejan reviews, it depends on the director. Let Todd Phillips direct it. That could be interesting. I think Todd directs what he's interested in directing, and I'm not sure if he will be interested in that. Ronnie Dodge, Ray tweet last night. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, he attacked that publicity woman, didn't he? From Warner Media because she was being respectful about Black Lives Matters. And then he called her a fraud. Bobcat, who are you? I'm Catwoman. Enter title logo. I think to make a standalone Catwoman film, it has to be compelling. It has to be interesting. You have to go at her in a darker way. It can't just be blah, blah, blah. She's a woman. She's a stripper. It has to be dark. She has to come from something dark. She has to be fucked up. And I mean more fucked up than Michelle Pfeiffer's version, who was really fucked up. Oh, you know, you'd have to make it interesting. I'm not going to spend 2.5 hours watching some woman, you know, doing nothing. You know, it'd be the same with a male character. I'm not going to sit there watching some bloke being boring. Ronnie George, he's going after everyone at Warner Media. He's boring me now. Yeah, he's boring me. It's just boring. He's ineffective. It's gone. It was all very worthwhile and working when we thought the Snyderverse could be restored, and before the Snyder Cut, it was exciting, and it could have some effect then. But I mean, their window of opportunity, and I'm talking about Zack's as well, has closed. We had a big 1.5 million trend for Restore the Snyderverse, right? After the Variety and Sarnoff article. And since then, we've been going downhill. We didn't kind of build on that success because, unfortunately, it's just a silly echo chamber, people coming up false narratives, and it doesn't work anymore. It's done. Bobcat, I'm a woman. Men made me bad. I will attack you now, and I'm also a cat. Exactly, be shit, wouldn't it? Bobcat, they'd probably make a furry lol. Oh, God. We are in a creatively bankrupt era of entertainment and storytelling. There's no question about that. There really is very few creatives and actors to respect nowadays. It is very difficult because they think their shit don't stink. That's the problem. I think I'll pass on now we need Aquaman Attack of the Air Bubbles, Bobcat. I think I'll pass on that. Bobcat, that could be DC's next Black Label film. No thanks. I'll pass. Right, 3 more minutes and we're going to sign off. Ryan Cinematics. Sasha Calle looks too much like Selena Kyle, and as a fan of the Batman, I would love to see her as that role. And I think she's perfectly cast as Supergirl, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, Selena Kyle has been cast because of nepotism and because she's related to Jason Momoa. But let's hope she does a great job. Fingers crossed. I don't think Reeve would have had her there for no reason. Bobcat, I want this crappy Catwoman movie now. It's okay. Make it for yourself. Sanjan Reviews, they should do an Elseworld Superman terrorist attack movie. Yeah, they didn't like that word, did they? Bobcat, look at me, I do cat things, and I'm also woke. Get woke or I scratch your eyes out. Ronnie Dodge, I'm surprised Ray hasn't attacked Sashi yet. Well, they shouldn't really. I mean, Sasha hasn't done anything to him, and I think that would just make him look bad. He attacks executives and the company rather than actors. To be fair, he hasn't attacked any actors, I don't think. So that doesn't surprise me, to be honest, Ronnie. He's got no reason to attack actors or anything like that. If he's going to attack actors, he should attack some of the ones in his own, in his own Justice League cast, Bobcat, someone needs to make DC comedies. Nope. Comedies are boring. Comedies should just be original things where people can go and watch them if they're interested. Batman the musical. No. No. No, 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 no. Ryan Cinematics. I am looking forward to seeing her performance as Supergirl. So am I. I can't wait, Ryan. It's going to be awesome. Let's hope we get a costume reveal soon. Sandown Reviews. Did you hear Zack wants to do a wrestler remake with Amy Adams? Yes, it's something he pitched to her back in 2016 when they were shooting Justice League. I'm assuming she didn't respond to him, so maybe he should take the hint. Bobcat, Batman just singing, it's a hard knock life like Annie. Ronnie Dodge, he attacks everyone at the moment. Why bring in Discovery into this discussion? They don't take over until next year. Is he done? I don't know what he said about Discovery, to be honest. If you can tell me before I sign off, which I'll be doing very shortly, what he said about Discovery, I'll respond to it right here. And that'll be the end of it, won't it? Because once I respond to things, that's that. I have a special way. I don't know what he said about Discovery, to be honest with you, so. Bobcat, I want Annie with Batman. No Bruce Wayne, just Batman with the grainy voice. I genuinely don't know what he said about Discovery. He said if Warner Media won't apologise, then Discovery will. Well, maybe Discovery will. Maybe they'll want a clean house and maybe they will put out a... But it's not really Discovery's place to apologise. They haven't done anything wrong. What he's basically doing, he's threatening Discovery, saying, don't think when you take over, I'm going to stop. Well, you don't have to stop, mate, because you're just telling old stories. It's boring. He doesn't seem to understand. Nobody gives a shit anymore. It's done. He said what he has to say. He has nothing new to say. It's boring. Nobody cares. Bobcat, someone send this to SNL. At the end of the day, he's done. It's over. Ronnie Dodge, his career is going further in the ground. Oh, someone will give him work. But at the end of the day, I think he probably is a troublesome person to work with anyway. Not just with Warner Brothers, but I think he's someone who has an opinion on what's going down. Probably everything's racist to him. I wouldn't want to work with him. Seems really talented, but not worth the hassle. There's plenty of talented actors out there. Anyway, everyone, that's it for today's DC, or should I say, Big Mouth Daily. Bobcat, Ray Fisher the musical. You're racist, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist. Something like that anyway. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Bobcat, Ronnie Dodge, Ryan, the Man United fan whose tag I forgot because I'm not very good with names. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the 9 viewers who are watching right now. Thank you for the 3 likes. I will be back tonight at 6 p.m. with Big Mouth Live. 6 p.m. UK time, that is. Ronnie Dodge, see you later, Mick. Ryan Cinematics, good night. Good night. Bobcat, see you, Mickey. Great stream as always. Thank you, Bobcat. Back tonight, 6 p.m. UK time with Big Mouth Live. Who knows what will be going on by then. Anyway, follow me on Twitter @MoviesTVMad and let's have a giggle. Till then, stay safe. Until tonight. Bye-bye.